and that is, can you advise us to have what routine would you advise us to have to make the most out of Ramadan, a daily routine?
Yeah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. First of all, the month of Ramadan is the greatest month of the year. And it is a very golden opportunity for every single Muslim to get the maximum reward and to get closer to Allah Jalla wa Ala. And it is an opportunity for the Muslim to wipe all his previous sins or her previous sins. The Prophet ﷺ gave us 3 consecutive opportunities, and those opportunities will help us to understand the main activities that we need to focus on during the month of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ said in Hadith Abi Hurairah, again in muttafaqun alayh, agreed upon in terms of its authenticity, the highest level of authenticity. The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever fasts the month of Ramadan, believing in Allah Jalla Ala and seeking the reward behind fasting, of course, he will have all his previous sins forgiven, all her previous sins forgiven. So this shows us that the main activity that we should do during the month of Ramadan is fasting. Now, this might be seen as given, but let me just add to it 2 important points. First of all, the Prophet ﷺ gave us 2 conditions to get that maximum reward, which is to have all the previous sins forgiven. Believing that Allah Jalla Ala obliged us to fast, and the second condition is seeking the reward. What does that mean? Many people fast because they have no option but to fast. Many people fast because all Muslims around them are fasting. They don't think of it as an obligation Allah Jalla Ala obliged them to do, and they don't look forward positively for the reward that they will achieve because of fasting the month of Ramadan. So these 2 conditions are very, very important. I remind myself and the brothers to witness those conditions.
It prevents us from becoming robotic as well.
Exactly, and it becomes just a routine, a routine, habitual activity. And as the scholars used to say, that the habits of the righteous people turn to be ibadat, to be acts of worship. However, the acts of worship of heedless people will turn to be what? Normal habitual activities. We don't want this to happen. So this is one thing. The other thing I wanted to mention about this hadith is that when the Prophet ﷺ said man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaba, it means that fasting during the month of Ramadan is highly rewarded. Many people, when they have any simple excuse, they just say, Allah Jalla wa Ala says, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ, so we can make it up later. No, brothers, sisters. Fasting in Ramadan is the most virtuous thing that you can do. So it's not just you became little bit, when you travel short distance, you don't need to break your fast, you don't. If there is a real difficulty, then yes. If you become little bit ill, I'm ill, I can break my fast. No, the priority is given to fasting.
We have a lot of questions about the details about fasting.
So we'll not get into those details. So this is one thing, which is fasting the month of Ramadan. Now, Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, and it is the only chapter in the Quran that talks about fasting Ramadan. Surprisingly. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. So it is done. We spoke about it. Then Allah Jalla wa Ala, after one single ayah, Allah Jalla wa Ala says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. In the month of Ramadan, the Quran was revealed. Allah Jalla wa Ala also says, إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر. We revealed the month of Ramadan in ليلة القدر. حاميم الكتاب المبين حاميم الكتاب المبين إنا أنزلناه في ليلة مباركة إنا كنا منذرين. We revealed the Quran in Layla Mubarakah, which is Laylatul Qadr. The scholars unanimously agreed that the month of Ramadan is the month of Quran in terms of recitation of Quran. Many scholars used to stop all their other activities and used to focus on the recitation of Quran. Imam Shafi'i used to complete the Quran 60 times during the month of Ramadan. Imam Abu Hanifa used to complete the Quran 60 times during the month of Ramadan. I found many scholars who used to complete the Quran 30 times during the month of Ramadan. The completion of Al-Quran once in Ramadan may give you more than 30 million hasanat. Over 30 million hasanat. Why? Because in the Quran there are over 300,000 letters. And the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever reads any letter from the book of Allah according to an interpretation, he will get 10 hasanat. The Prophet ﷺ further explained this by saying, I don't say Alif Lam Mim as one letter, but I say Alif as one letter, Lam as one letter, and Mim as one letter. So by reciting Alif Lam Mim, you are getting 30 hasanat. This is in normal circumstances. But during Ramadan, the hasanat are multiplied. As the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah said that He wrote hasanat and sayyi'at, and the one who makes a hasanat will be multiplied by 10 up to 700. So in Ramadan, it is very likely that the hasanat will be multiplied by, who knows, 700 times, 100 times, who knows. Okay, so this is the recitation of Quran. Then after recitation of Quran, the Prophet, Allah Jalla wa Ala says, in those ayat that talk about Ramadan, Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. Dua during the month of Ramadan. Do a lot of dua. Whether you are fasting, and there are some hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said every fasting person has a da'wah that will not be rejected, or during the last part of the night, because it is the sahur time, and we know that Allah Jalla wa Ala descends every single night and in the third part of the night, and He asks His slave who is making dua, who is making istighfar, who is asking me for something, I'll grant him that. Okay, so making dua. Then towards the end of Ramadan, which Allah Jalla wa Ala also mentioned, وَلَا تُبَاشِرُهُنَّ وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ, during those ayat also. So Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned i'tikaf. I'tikaf is very, very virtuous. And the Prophet ﷺ used to observe i'tikaf every single Ramadan. And when he missed it once, he made it up. His wives used to do it. The righteous people used to do it. Many scholars said that Allah Jalla wa Ala did not specify any particular reward for i'tikaf. Why? Because the reward is unimaginable. Yeah, when Allah Jalla wa Ala doesn't mention that. As I mentioned i'tikaf, I would like to encourage our brothers, in particular our brothers, to stay in the masjid as much as they can. Come early to the masjid, pray your salah in jama'ah, stay after your jama'ah. If you can, also stay from one salah waiting until the other salah. The Prophet ﷺ said, ذَلِكُمُ الرِّبَاطِ ذَلِكُمُ الرِّبَاطِ ذَلِكُمُ الرِّبَاطِ means standing in the battlefield, okay, waiting for salah, waiting after the salah, waiting for the second salah. Okay.
Is this even outside of the last 10 days?
This is outside the 10 days, of course, but in particular during the 10 days.
With
outside, even outside Ramadan, even you can do that. Yeah, with the intention of staying in the masjid. Now let us add one more thing to that. It was mentioned indirectly on those verses, sadaqah. Yeah, the Prophet ﷺ was more generous, as Ibn Abbas described him, than a blazing wind during the month of Ramadan. So these, now we have siyam, sadaqah,
so fasting, charity,
and
Quran, reading as much
and
Quran
recitation
as
of Quran, and the i'tikaf, and then dua, and then Qiyamul Layl. The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever observes Qiyamul Layl during the month of Ramadan, again with two conditions: believing that Allah Jalla wa Ala commanded him to do so, and seeking the reward behind that, he will have, or she will have, all her previous sins forgiven. Now, these ibadat that we have mentioned are the listed ibadat, the specific ibadat. We always say that there are specific ibadat and there are general ibadat. Yeah, Allah Jalla wa Ala wants us to do specific ibadat in certain times, and the specific ibadat, as we said, prayer, fasting, recitation of Quran, dhikr of Allah Jalla wa Ala, sadaqah, i'tikaf, night prayer, dua. These are specific ibadat. The non-specific ibadat, when you go to work, this is a ibadah. Yes, when you play with your children, this is a ibadah. When you spend time with your wife, this is a ibadah. But during Ramadan, yes, we need to focus more on the specific ibadat rather than the general ibadat. During the last 10 nights, if we can devote ourselves for the specific ibadat as the Prophet ﷺ used to do, then we should do that. Let me add one thing, that is, whether it is a specific ibadah or general ibadah, that is very important, which is mind your relationship with your relatives. Al-aqrabuna ثم الأقربون. Yeah, الأقربون أولى means mind your relationship with your parents, brothers, sisters. Be careful. Be careful. You cannot do the specific ibadat, recitation of Quran and Siyam, and your relationship is bad with your mother. Okay, is negative with your father. No, fix that relationship. This is silatul rahim. Yeah, maintaining the ties of kinship. And then after that, your own blood brothers, your own siblings, your own sisters, okay, and then the other circle, direct uncles, direct aunties, yeah, in particular that, and then the other general ibadat as we have mentioned.